Dobrodošli u novi Simposar 2025 podcast. Danas imam zaista veliku čast da vam najavim našeg narednog gosta koji je onako postao već prijatelj i domaći sa nama. U nastavku ćemo razgovarati sa jednim od najboljih sportskih novinara na svijetu trenutno, Guillem Balague, naš gost. Thank you very much for your time and congratulations for your award here at Sarajevo, Global Contribution for Sports Journalism. Welcome to Sarajevo and Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Thank you very much. Let me just compliment you on how you say the name, but also the work that you put in to say the name properly, because a name is heritage. It's my family, it's where I come from, and very easy. People will just dismiss it, whatever way you say it, as long as you communicate. No. The name is very, very important, so you said it perfectly.
For me also, I'm working last 11 years, and that's, I think, one of the most important things when we have a conversation with people, with our colleagues, journalists, and everything. Congratulations for award, and how do you feel?
Humbled, because I went on stage after big names and people that have dedicated their life to sports have gone on, and Massimo Franchi gave me the award. He's a legend himself.
Are you surprised?
Yeah, well, I didn't know. And it was quite funny because he sat down, which nobody else had sat down because everybody was standing up, and it kind of gave me the award. It's like, this is for you. And I found it quite, how can I put it, humbling again that he didn't give it much importance, and yet then we stood up and whatever. To me, it's massive. It's a recognition to a lot of work, a lot of hours, and that it's a pat in the back, as I said in the little speech, from Bao and from Simposar. It's a way of saying whatever you decide to do, you're doing well, and that is always very pleasing, of course.
You said after when you gave award, this is for storytellers.
Yeah, because I felt that one thing that made me understand what the award was about wasn't just Bajo saying, you've done so well with your books and this and that or whatever. It's when I spoke to his daughter, and Amina pointed out that against the wishes of the family almost, Bajo gives a lot of awards because he recognizes that there is a lot of people that have not been recognized, or that they represent a trait, or they represent a way of doing things that has to do with positive outlook on life and work and the people that you're describing, commitment, and when everybody focuses obviously on the stories and the big names from those stories, the Messis, the Ronaldos, the Lamines, those stories wouldn't be told if there weren't storytellers. And storytelling is what we've been doing since we were in caves. It's the way to create myths, to create the feeling that we're in this together, to create stories. And I felt that, in a way, that's what he was doing. He was actually, we had seen like Jean-Marie Piaf and Risto Stoikov. They are the story, and they are the big names. But as I said, without those that tell the story, it just wouldn't be the same. So I think he was complimenting through me storytellers.
I seen you at Ballon d'Or. I saw you actually, and you were at red carpet and interviewed a lot of big stars. What do you think about this year, about ceremony Ballon d'Or? Can we talking about it?
I love it. I love the Ballon d'Or. I think those that start saying, or have been saying for a while, it's an individual award, and it's all about egos, and it's all about, brands, and it's all about... They're not getting it. They are not getting it. The first thing to say is that it means a lot to the players, those that they are in the list, and male and female. For the female, even more, because they've only been like 6 years being given these awards. And for the first time, Aitana Bonmatí mentioned that it was equal, the amount of awards for men and women. So we are getting where we should be, really. And that's done in a ceremony that was fantastic. The glamour, the glitz, everybody so well dressed, and the big names were there, from Jorge Mendes and Joan Laporta down. And you can tell that for Mariana Caldentey and for Aitana Bonmatí, for Dembélé and Lamine Yamal, it just means a lot. So I don't believe that this is not part of football. This is very much part of football. It's marked in red in everybody's calendar. I've been going now for a while, and I think it should have the moment it deserves. Obviously, the voting is subjective, but so what? Everything, our opinion on football is subjective. So awards shouldn't be based on stats. Why is Lamine Yamal second in the Ballon d'Or? Because he did very well, but because what he made us feel. Last year I hadn't felt the way that Lamine Yamal made me feel.
Yeah,
for a
he
long
was
time.
amazing. He was incredible.
Yeah.
But what do you think? What do you think about Ousmane Dembélé? He is the first one at Ballon d'Or this year.
Yeah, I'm not sure he'll get it again, even though PSG is going to be winning. But again, go back to this idea of what it means to them. Not only he cried, his mom, there was a little video at the end, his mom and the rest of the family were backstage where we were interviewing the winners. And she did a little video saying, this is for Africa, and we're going to take it to Senegal and Cameroon. And see, it means that much. And also, I felt it was a good idea for somebody to say, this is not about Europe, this is not about Paris, this is not about the big leagues. The whole world loves football. It should be out there. And I think people are starting talking that maybe Ballon d'Or may not be always in Paris, that it may go to other places, because I do believe that it has to conquer the world. It's one of those things that everybody's very excited about. And in fact, the day after the Ballon d'Or, we started talking about the next Ballon d'Or because Madrid were not there. So
what do you think about it?
Is their decision?
Real Madrid is the biggest club in the world. Everyone said it. But what do you think about this last 2 years? They are not coming.
First thing to say is that if Mbappé wins it, which he could win it next year, let's see if they go or they don't. But secondly, they are playing to be the anti-establishment. So they decided that they don't want to go through the rules because they are the best team in the world. In history, they're going to try to impose their own rules. And behind it, of course, there is this battle for power and authority and the Super League and all that. So it is politics. But it also tells you how much it means to Real Madrid. Not go is a big
Yeah, but we have a news.
Sorry?
We have a stories about it.
Yeah. So that allows us to tell stories, of course.
Yes. Now about your career. Can you compare me, please, when you wrote your first article?
Wow.
And today?
It's a good question. The first article was in Diario de Barcelona. I was about to make my trip to England that I thought it was going to be a year, and it ended up being 30 years. And I wrote about piracy in the music industry. So I had interviewed some people. They gave me a whole page, the first page of the cultural section. So proud. That feeling I've had few other times. Recently I was the cover of 442 doing an interview with Ousmane Dembélé. They decided to put my name as well. Guillem Balague interviews. Oh my God, 442 is a legendary magazine. You know, I got the first interview with David Beckham for Sky Sports when he came to Madrid, and we were filming, just having some wine, some ham, some Spanish food. I can tell you 4 or 5 moments, but that definitely is one that I remember exactly the feeling of opening the page and see my name on it and my article there. And now I still feel the responsibility of whatever comes out to be well done, well researched, well written. Obviously, you have more time for certain things than for others. You have a whole year and a half to write a book. But for an article, sometimes you have to do it as you travel or whatever. But I am very, same as I was that day when I read it, and I thought, I shouldn't have put that, I should have put that first. That feeling as well comes along with me. So I recently did the audio of the introduction of the new book. the rest is done by somebody else. By introduction, I wanted to do it because it's me talking about the project. And as I was reading it, I thought, that shouldn't be there. That word is not there. So that demand has remained from day one. And the love to tell stories is exactly the same as well.
You've written biographies of some of the football's biggest name, maybe the biggest ever, I think. Messi, Guardiola, Cristiana Ronalda. What is the most challenging part of the writing such books?
Maradona will be just moving around thinking, you haven't mentioned me.
Yes.
Because he's, some would say, I think Bajo would say that he's the best player ever, even.
What do you think? Who is the best player ever?
It's for me, it's an easy debate, very easy debate. It's Messi. Messi. Having studied...
Because you are from Barcelona and you have a really good view about his career and seen a lot of matches and something like that.
I followed him very closely. Obviously, being the authorized biography has meant that I have to update the book 5 times, which means I'm closer than most.
Tell us something about it. When you written biographies about Messi, what is the hardest thing in your project?
The hardest thing is to get information. That is the hardest thing. The second hardest thing is because it's an authorized book and I'm the only authorized biographer out there, it has to be read by the family and they have to be pleased with it. But I've got to tell a story, so I cannot hide the facts. So that balance is really interesting, and it requires a lot of knowledge and a lot of traveling and a lot of questions and talking to a lot of people. So if at any point they go back and said, we don't want that there, you say, nobody has to go in because of this or this or that. So that's a difficult part of it. And then the writing is only painful. It's always painful, because normally I write at the end of the season. So
how many times you working?
Well, for the Messi one, because I updated it 5 times, it's been years in the process. So the first one, when it first came out, it was 2 years work, but the writing was about 3 months non-stop every day, 12 hours.
All day, all night.
All day. And in fact, I did this thing that I don't do anymore. I would write until I was tired. If I was tired, I fall asleep. When I wake up, I go writing again. And while I was tired, I will fall asleep. And I could be writing at 6 in the morning, go to sleep at 2 in the afternoon. It kills you. I don't do that anymore. But doing it when everybody's resting after a long season was tough. So this last book, I wrote it as the season was progressing. So that allowed me to have 1 month off in the summer. But yeah, writing is painful because you're never completely happy.
Have you maybe, when you talked with Messi, have you any story for us, interesting story?
Many.
Can you share with us one of them?
One that was quite emotional was when Ronaldinho started again. Ronaldinho, when he sees Messi in his first training session with Barcelona, he's 17, and Ronaldinho is like, wow, this kid. And he told somebody he's going to be the best player in the world. Ronaldinho was the best player in the world at that point. But
he was Ballon d'Or at the time?
Yeah, just after that.
Yeah, after that, okay.
But he was the best. Everybody will consider him the best. But he saw that there was somebody else that was the best. Now, what normally happens is that the best kills the potential candidate. But Ronaldinho looked after Messi. So much so that they became really, really close, which is quite strange. You know, the Argentinian and the Brazilian, they tend to be rivals. He was invited to the rondos, you know, the pig in the middle, which normally kids go on the other ones. And I think Messi learned also how not to be a professional, because Ronaldinho, as we know now, and knew at the time, he didn't take the profession as serious as he should. Anyway, when it was going to be last season of Ronaldinho in Barcelona, after training, Ronaldinho went to Leo, put his arm around him, they were talking together, and he says, my number 10, you have to have next season the number 10. And Leo was like, no, you are the number 10, you have to stay with us, you have to stay with us. And he says, no, I'll be leaving and you will be the best player in the world.
This is time.
So
for saying goodbye.
Yeah, it was a time to move on into the next era.
Biography of Ronaldo, and was the same? Was it different?
It was very different because the Ronaldo book starts with Ronaldo threatened to take me to court because he saw something I put in the Messi book that he didn't like. So we had talked about Cristiano and I, who got on well, did events together. I presented events for Nike and so on, but he didn't like that bit that came out in the Messi book, and as I said, threatened to take me to court. So I put it at the beginning of the book, and even though we were talking about doing a book together, that of course put me in a different position than in the Messi one. For Messi, I'm the authorized biographer. For Ronaldo, he considers me at that point his enemy. So it was more about how can a writer get still to understand deeply what Cristiano Ronaldo is about without being able to ask him directly. And we must have done a good job because it's the most awarded book that I've got, but it's a completely different approach. You still got to investigate where he came from, the family. Obviously, I knew him. And I'm very, very proud of that job because it's also a parallel story of the writer who gets the subject upset and then, the consequences of all that.
Trust me, we are happy when we can sing the best players ever. And what do you think about it? Are we really happy when we can see Messi and Ronaldo?
Well, we've got Mbappe and Lamine now, so
yes,
this.
But Mbappe at that time, it's correctly actually. But Messi, Ronaldo is really unique.
Yeah, it was unique because
yes.
They fought for the same titles. They represented two of the biggest clubs in the world. They fought for the same awards, individual awards. They made each other better. If Ronaldo scored 2, Messi would score 3. There was a rivalry that was real. Then, as they became fathers, they softened a little bit, and they made in Ballon d'Or ceremonies and so on. And there was a moment in which Cristiano Jr., Ronaldo's son, actually said to his dad that he was a Messi fan. So obviously Cristiano wasn't fully happy about that. But then Cristiano, next time he met Leo, he said, "My son is a Messi fan." But
yes.
They entered another phase, but they made each other better. And you're absolutely right. It was nothing like that had happened in the history of football, and we were witness of it.
And shortly answer, please. Pep Guardiola biography. Can you agree with me when I say I think maybe Johan Cruyff made unbelievable things in Barcelona, and in my opinion, Pep Guardiola upgraded and made a beautiful football story.
Johan Cruyff opened the door, and Pep Guardiola decorated the room.
Great.
They were both fantastic at what they did.
Great description, really.
We'll leave it at that. Then that's the answer.
Okay. Now, can you tell us something about Bosnian and Herzegovinian football players? Have you ever made an interview maybe with Edin Dzeko? I can't find it, and something like that about story about Bosnian players, for example, Miralem Pjanic in the past, and something like that.
With Dzeko, I got a great anecdote. I didn't interview him, but I constantly raise money for the football club and the chairman of Biggleswade United. And one way of doing it is to auction things. And in this particular case, we were in an event, a football event. Dzeko had been invited. We were sitting next to each other, and he knew me because I was on UK television. I've been on for like 30 years. So all the football players have watched me. And they found out then that I was the chairman of a football club. And I had got a Messi shirt, signed shirt, and it was auctioned. and it wasn't taking off. People were paying, 300 euros, 400 euros, 500 euros, 600 euros. And Dzeko went like, 5,000 euros. It's like, what? So obviously nobody competed with that. I need to come the Messi share. So I've always been thankful. And yesterday, what I didn't know is that he was from Sarajevo. I didn't know that.
You know that?
No,
you don't know that?
I didn't know that. I found out yesterday. So while I found out, because I think I was at the beginning of the Simposar Gala night, there was a video and he appears in the video, and I sent him a picture saying, hello from your hometown, and I'm always grateful for that chair that you got, and I hope things are going well with you. So that's my story with Dzeko.
Great. He was a young player at Željezničar, a local club and one of the biggest club with great history and tradition in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And maybe do you want an interview in the future, maybe
with Dzeko?
With Dzeko?
I think we'll find, when he's the president of his former club and the president of mine, we'll just meet up somewhere and
maybe
and
one day.
Chat.
One day. In the end, can we talking about maybe your the last one book? 2 days ago, I saw at Instagram you made a story about Unai Emery and Aston Villa. That's the last one.
Rise of the Villains is called. It's going extremely well. Extremely well. I'm surprised. I mean, in Amazon, I think it's like 250 best-sold book. In Amazon, that is just unbelievable for us, for a sports book. So it's a story of Unai Emery. I met his family. This is perhaps the book I dwelled the most into somebody's life and into a club, because I was given a fantastic access. So I was there for a year, going to the canteen, meeting the players, meeting the coaches, and I was total access to do whatever I wanted with them. So as I said, the first part is the Unai story, where he comes from, his successes, his change. He's changed throughout his career to become what he is now. It's interesting to see it. And the second part is a photograph of Aston Villa, what the club is about right now. So it's got a lot of stories from last season, but it's not like the story of last season. It's a story of Aston Villa right now, which no matter how well or bad as they started the season, and they haven't started well, even though on Thursday they beat Bologna in the Europa League, but they are on the rise. It's just that nobody said it was a linear upward trajectory. You go like that. But now they've moved to another place with the leadership of Unai Emery. So it was fascinating to try to understand how that worked.
Which player has surprised you the most with their intelligence of the pitch?
Off the pitch.
And off the pitch and on the pitch also.
Luka Modric, for instance, not surprised me, but I always enjoyed the way he understood the game.
On the pitch?
On the pitch.
Okay.
But off the pitch as well, as in he knows how to move in that world outside the pitch. Obviously, Pepa Guardiole, I knew him as a player, and I understood a lot of football. When he became a manager, I understood a lot of football. In fact, he changed my mind about football, like he has done with so many other people. That it's opened up my mind about the game. So you have to say he's one of the most intelligent of the pitch, if you like, people I've ever met, with a touch of humbleness, because he's constantly learning. Now it's more about winning, but there's been a long time in his life which was about learning. And when you want so much that you still want to learn is a good lesson for everyone. Jose Mourinho is probably the funniest I've ever met, and he's got a sharpness to understand what's happening and twist it into a joke. The Jose Mourinho that you see on camera is not the real Jose Mourinho, I don't think. Alex Ferguson had a charm, had an aura. Rafa Benitez was vanguard, and again, made me understand a lot of things. The list could go on and on and on. Not so much surprised, because I always go to meet these people, big names, knowing that I know much less than they will, and that they will teach me. So it's not just an interview, I listen. And with that in mind, it's not a surprise that they all show me new ways to understand the game.
Football for 10 years.
In 10 years' time?
Yeah, in 10 years' time.
Yeah, I keep asking that question to those that are deep thinkers. And artificial intelligence is going to be important in the way you live the game, in the way you enjoy it.
Yeah. Social media made a lot of change.
Yeah.
A lot of change, yes.
In terms of branding, in terms of how attention span has been reduced, that affects the new generation of players because
we have more pressure.
There's more pressure. All that off the pitch, yeah, it's become now such a massive spectacle, massive game. On the pitch, I'm not sure because I think, through Johan Cruyff and Pepa Guardiola, we've evolved the game to a point where very quickly the game, when you attack, has got 4 phases. Building from the back, in the middle, the one before last action, in the edge of the box, and the last action. And the last bit, the last action, has not been developed, has not been automatized, has not been worked as deeply as the other 3. So I think football is going towards the developing of that automatization and coaching of the last decision. So that's where it will go, to players that will be more part of a system. While physically they'll go further and further, I think they cannot run much faster. The football cannot be much quicker. But you can be stronger, or you can individualize the game. So it's difficult to see if it's going to be played different or similar. I'm sure it will be different. But I think those are the trends that I can see already.
When you were the happiest in your career?
Wow. I love doing radio. I've been on television and do books and podcasts or whatever. But on radio, there's something about the immediacy of talking on radio. And there was a show we used to do with 2 geniuses of broadcasting, Gabriel Marcotti and Adrian Durham. We called it Football First in Europe. It was the first European football show on UK radio a long time ago. And I loved it. And it challenged me because when you are with Gabriel Marcotti and Adrian Durham, you have to know a lot. So I had to find out a lot. And then the kind of conversations that we had on radio were very, still remembered. So I would say out of the many things I've done, perhaps that's the one I was the proudest.
What do you think about our national football team, Bosnia and Herzegovina? We have a really young team now. I think 20 years is, how can I say it? A lot of players have 20 years in a row. And what do you think? Are you watching our games in the World Cup qualification and the other games? Maybe the best year for us was 2014 when we go first time to one big competition. Have you maybe some names about future in Bosnia and Herzegovina? Can you recognize it and something like that?
Well, the first thing to say is that they're always technically very good players. As you say, you had better times. I'm hearing that the way, because I'm not an expert and I haven't watched enough to have an opinion, but I'm hearing that perhaps not enough work has been done academy level to come up with the stars that you should have, or young players that could impress. But I'm about to find out more, because after we finish talking, I'm going to go to the Sarajevo derby. And I hope to see that talent, or whatever talent it's on the pitch, live. What's the atmosphere going to be like for the Sarajevo derby?
Can you repeat, please?
What's the atmosphere going to be like?
It's amazing. Stadium Grbavica, Željezničar Stadium, is really something like in England. The fans are really near. In Koševo, it's not like that, but you go now to Grbavica, and I think you will be really. It will be really amazing for you, I think.
I'm looking forward to it. I was here in 1991.
Yes.
I remember I got to a train station, and there was a group of older ladies that will offer their houses, a room in the houses, so we choose one. And then she looked after us big time. She gave us food that day, and she told us what to do, where to go. And I remember as well, I mentioned this to Bajo, that in the evening, we didn't have much money at the time, and in the evening, we'd just do whatever else did. And everybody just went into this main square, you know, in the old town, and walked around the square.
Yes.
Just spend the evening walking around the square. So we did the same, and having some corn on the cob, like toasted, and we did that, and it was great. It was maybe a simpler life, and at the same time, we sensed that, you know, not everything was perfect, but it was a great experience.
Guillem, thank you very much for your time. See you again in Sarajevo, and have a great time in our country, in our capital city.
Thank you, and you're very, very welcoming, and hope to be back.
Thank you very much. Dakle, čuli ste, evo, Guillem Balague je bio gost podcasta Simposara. Nadam se, evo, da ste saznali mnogo zanimljivih stvari o najboljim fudbalerima svijeta, ali isto tako i čuli neke zanimljive deskripcije i odgovore i o Edinu Džeki, a evo, čuli ste i anegdotu, i o Bosni i Hercegovini reprezentaciji. Hvala vam za vaše izdvojeno vrijeme, što ste bili sa nama i uživali u ovom podcastu.